One of the dilemmas facing the Muslim community is that they are quite distant from the Quran. As the vast majority of Muslims tend to be non-Arabic speaking Muslims, Muslims whose mother tongue is not Arabic, and the Quran is an Arabic book, it is an Arabic text, Muslims are in a sort of they are having an impediment because they are reading a book which is not their mother tongue. They do not understand what it is that they read. The tendency within the vast majority of Muslims from a non-Arabic background tends to be that they recite the book for blessings. They do not recite it for the purpose of seeking to understand its meaning. The common trend is that Muslims, they memorize few chapters or few verses of the Quran and they recite those in their salah, in the 5 daily prayers. And they do not tend to bother with studying the Quran, with opening up the book and, studying it meticulously with a view to find, to probe its meanings. This is quite a serious problem. This is quite a serious problem. Why is it serious? It is serious because to study the Quran with understanding is a commandment of Allah. It is an order of Allah. Just like there are other commandments that Allah has given in the Quran itself. He says, Aqimus Salah, establish prayer, establish the 5 daily prayers. Atuz Zakah, give Zakah, give charity. Atimmul Hajja wal Umrata lillah, complete the Hajj and the Umrah for Allah. These are commands of Allah. These are commandments given by Allah to the believers. Similarly, there is also the commandment to study the Quran, to study and understand the Quran. But Muslims are largely unaware of that. Muslims do not tend to study the Quran. Muslims coming especially from a non-Arabic background, like in Pakistan, in India, in Bangladesh, in South Asia, in other parts of the world as well. Muslims whose mother tongue is not Arabic, they are reading the book, but they are not understanding what it is that they are reading. This is a very serious problem, and it is causing ignorance of the law of Allah, and the Muslims, their level of iman is not what it is that it should be. Allah tells us in the Quran in Surah Sad, chapter number 38, verse number 29, Allah says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Kitabun anzalnahu ilayka mubarakan. This is a book which we have sent down to thee. It is full of blessings. لِيَدَّبَّرُوا ayati, that the people may meditate on its signs. وَلِيَتَذَكَّرَ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ, and those who have been given understanding, they seek guidance, they seek remembrance. So Allah says very clearly, لِيَدَّبَّرُوا ayati. The purpose of Quranic Revelation is لِيَدَّبَّرُوا ayati, that they may meditate, they may analyze on the ayat, on the signs of Allah. And how can we do that until or unless we know the original language of the Quran? We know the original meanings of the kalimatul Quran, the words of the Quran, the vocabulary of the Quran. If we don't know it, then obviously, you have an impediment, you have a handicap. Now this problem is somewhat solved to some extent, I would say, it by a publication like this one that I hold in my hand. This is, what is it? It's a small booklet that I hold in my hand. It's a small booklet. This is a booklet which contains the vocabulary of the Quran, the entire vocabulary of the Quran. You see, the Quran has above 80,000 words. Approximately 80,000 words are in Arabic text, in the whole text. I'm giving you an approximation. But these 80,000 words are actually 2,000 words which are repeated often and often. So the original vocabulary of the Quran is about 2000 words. 2000 words. And here in this booklet are those 2000 words. Those 2000 words and their meaning, their corresponding meaning in English. So if you were to memorize these 2000 words, you would have the ability to understand the Quran without translation. When the Quran is being recited either in the prayers, in Salah, or you recite it yourself, or somebody else recites it to you, or you are reading it from a book, like a book, then you would be able to understand it if those 2000 words are a part of your vocabulary. So this is a very useful resource, and I would highly recommend it that you obtain this if English is your mother, your language of understanding. Then the meanings are given in English. This book, the features of this book is that it has been compiled by Maulana Muhammad Asif Qasimi. The author, or not the author, the compiler of the book is Maulana Muhammad Asif Qasimi. He is a renowned Islamic scholar. He is the great grandson of Maulana Qasim Nanotwi, who was one of the founders of Darul Uloom Deoband, a leading seminary in India, and a very, very renowned scholar in his own right. So Maulana Muhammad Asif Qasimi, who I believe is nowadays in Canada, he runs an Islamic institution in Canada. He is the compiler of this. This was originally compiled. It was, it was brought out in the market in Urdu. This is the Urdu version, Tarjamatul Quran. This is the Urdu version. This particular publication is the same in English. It is the same in English. And what it is this booklet has 10 chapters. It has 10 chapters, and those 10 chapters are according to the surah sequence, in the surah chronological order. Surah Al-Fatiha, the common words in Surah Al-Fatiha, then Al-Baqarah, then Ali Imran, then Surah An-Nisa, then Surah Al-Ma'idah, then Surah Al-An'am, Surah Al-Araf, and so on and so forth. So it runs in this chronological order. And these 10 chapters, they cover the whole Quran. So the entire vocabulary of the Quran, is here. This is it. If you memorize this booklet, if you memorize these 10 oft repeated words, often most repeated words, then you will be able to understand the Quran. So it is important that you obtain a resource like this and spend time and give it, some of your time every day and memorize these words, these Quranic vocabularies. Let me just give you a sample of what is included in this book. Take for example this. I'm sure you can see this. Kul means say or tell. Ma'a means with. Qad means certainly. It also means indeed. Hunna is plural, female, third person, and it means they all, their own. Kum, plural, male, second person. It means you, to you, yours. Hum, plural, male, third person. It means they all, their own. So this is like, the Arabic word is given. This is a Quranic word. All these words occur in the Quran and their meaning is also given. And there are 10 chapters in all that are covered in this book. Also, a very useful feature of this book is that this book has 10 brief lessons on Quranic Arabic grammar, the Arabic grammar of the Quran. I will just show this to you briefly, that the grammar is also included in it, and if you go through the basic Arabic grammar, it is very useful. It is extremely useful. Like for example, this is lesson number 4. Demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns. Ha-ula'i, all these. Ula'ika, only these people. Tilka, this or that. Zalika, that. Hazihi, this is a demonstrative pronoun for a female, which means this. Haza, haza is the demonstrative pronoun for a male. So these are some grammatical aspects as well. The grammar, basic grammar is also given. So this is a very useful tool. Obtain this, please. Get hold of this. The title of the publication is Translation of Quran, compiled by Maulana Muhammad Asif Qasimi. And this is published by Gaba Sons in Karachi, Pakistan. Urdu Bazaar, M.A. Jinnah Road, Karachi. The address of the publisher will be given at the end of the video. You can order this book through the publisher directly. And this is a really useful tool. I highly recommend it. I recommend it to those people who do not have the ability to understand the Quran, but who can read the Arabic text. Those of you who have the prerequisite ability to read or recite the Quran in Arabic, but now wish to go further. They wish to go and understand the Quran in its original, then this is a very useful tool to get you going. As I said earlier, that to recite the Quran is an obligation, it is an order. Allah says in Surah Sad, Kitabun anzalnahu ilayka mubarakan liyadabbaru ayati. It is a book which we have sent down to thee. It is full of blessing, liyadabbaru ayati, that people may meditate on its signs, meditate on its ayat. So this is an order to study the Quran, to study the Quranic text, is an order from Allah. And those who do not do that, a warning is also given. In Surah Muhammad, chapter number 47, ayah number 24, Allah says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Do they not ponder over the Quran? Do they not analyze the Quran? Do they not do tadabbur on the Quran? Am ala qulubin aqfaluha, or are their hearts locked up? If you don't ponder on the Quran, if you don't study the Quran with meaning, what will happen? Your hearts will get locked up. You don't want your heart to be locked up. So make an effort to study the Quran. Get hold of a Quran, get hold of a translation, get hold of resources like this. If you understand Urdu better, then get hold of the Urdu, obtain. It's a small booklet. It's a small booklet. It won't take too much of your time. If you spend half an hour a day with it, 1 hour a day with it, you're not asking too much of yourself. You're not traveling to a faraway land. You're not doing anything of that sort. Why don't you spend time, give time to Allah's book from your daily 24 hours? What time are you giving to Allah? So our obligation is as Muslims that we should be able to recite the Quran correctly. We have to recite the Quran with proper tajweed. So we need to spend time to do that. We also need to study the Quran with meaning. So we need to spend time to do that. From your 24 hours a day, allocate some time for that. Take up the Quran. Be serious about it. Be serious, okay? Take this up seriously. Make it a priority in your life. This is guidance of Allah. What is it that you are getting in return? You are entering into the realm of God's guidance. When you open up the Quran, when you open up God's book, you are entering into the realm of God's guidance. You are coming into communication with God, with the Lord of the universe. So you have to do that and allocate some time towards that. I thank you all for listening, and I hope that you would find this resource to be useful. This was a short review of the book, Translation of Quran, or rather the title should be The Vocabulary and Translation of the Quran by Muhammad Asif Qasimi, this particular book. And the address of the publisher, if you want to order this book then you can obtain it from the publisher. The address of the publisher will be given at the end of the video, and also in the description of this video a link will be given to Maulana Muhammad Asif Qasimi's website, where the Urdu version can be downloaded as a PDF. If you want a PDF, some people prefer the written book version. I prefer the written book actually. I'm not really keen on reading books, stuff on my computer. My eyesight is already getting weak. I'd rather that, I sit in the sun in the garden and I open up a book and I read, and I also make notes. I also like to make notes on what it is that I'm reading. So I prefer the paper one. But obviously, for environmental reasons, you also have the option of ordering a PDF from the website. The link below, the description of this video has that link where you can download the PDF, so you can get it from there. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.